Teen Lil Sebastian. Finger Puppet Management TV Show. Presented by Tiffany Lewis, Jennifer D'Arcangelo, Danielle DeVal, Vicky Ann Lopez, Nicholas Morris, and Miles Walker. Teen Lil Sebastian presents to our audience an animated 7-episode television TV series inspired by the characters of the television show Parks and Recreation. Characters of Parks and Recreation are working for the government, and their managerial actions have a great impact on the town of Pawnee. They are faced with managerial challenges that involve ethical decision-making, social responsibility, and goal setting. Target audience. Our mini television series targets everyone who is a part of the community, as well as young and aspiring adults looking to make a difference in the community with their career. Parks and Recreation story setting and department goals. Story setting. The setting of the television series will take place in the small town community of the fictional town Pawnee, Indiana. Characters will be seen at their office of the Department of Parks and Recreation, the community park where Leslie is first introduced, the community neighborhood with abandoned construction pit and town hall meetings, department goals, improving the Pawnee community, restoring the abandoned construction pit into a park, gaining community support, strategic management, positively representing the community, and managing the department's finances to build the park and successfully launch the Harvest Festival. The Department of Parks and Recreation has been leading and helping the Pawnee community for years, but never have they had to face a challenge as large as the one that they're presented to by community member Ann Perkins. Leslie Nope, Deputy Director, is a positive, goal-oriented, and ambitious employee in the department whom exhibits her leadership skills to try to motivate her unmotivated and lazy employees. Leslie's interpersonal skills and leadership skills are supported by Ann Perkins, who acts as the disturbance handler, as she is great at delegating tasks when the team is unorganized and resolving confrontations. The employees of the Department of Parks and Recreation attempt to work together towards deadlines provided to them by the government and challenges served to their department by the community. The employees are led by two opposing managerial styles. Leslie Nope, first line manager, is the deputy director and motivates the employees to utilize their critical thinking skills and teamwork abilities to complete the assigned goals. Leslie ensures leading, organizing, planning, and controlling efforts towards goals are completed. Ron Swanson, the director, is unmotivated, negative, and attempts to control the situations. Ron Swanson merely acts as a figurehead where for the most part he shows up at events and doesn't participate in efforts toward group goals. Ron is merely concerned with the department's reputation. Managerial challenges. The abandoned, unsafe construction pit, which is located in a Pawnee neighborhood. Canvassing the community. Team building challenging to gain community support. Town hall meeting. Can the department communicate with the people? Strategic planning and financial budgeting challenges.
Meet Leslie Nope. She's the Park and Rec Deputy Director. She's determined, intelligent, and hardworking. Leslie assumes the leader role in her position at Pawnee City Hall. Although she is a subordinate of Ron Swanson, who is the program director, Leslie exercises her authority as deputy director and is proactive to make positive changes for the Parks and Rec department. Leslie embraces a utilitarian approach when making decisions in her job and carefully analyzes the possible outcomes of her decisions before making them. She exhibits a liberal point of view regarding politics and believes that it is her social responsibility as deputy director to serve the people. Although a bit awkward at times, Leslie exhibits keen interpersonal skills by being empathetic and sensitive to the needs of the citizens of Pawnee. In contrast to most politicians, Leslie is honest and forthright about her intentions within the Parks and Recreation Department and exercises morality, strong judgment, conceptual skills when faced with an ethical dilemma. Tom Haverford is Leslie's immediate subordinate. He is the arrogant, pompous, and sardonic right-hand man to Leslie in the Parks and Recs department. Tom's inflated ego often clouds his ability to focus on performing his job sufficiently. Tom does not appear to care about or share the strategic vision and overall mission of the Parks and Recs department, which is evident by the lack of initiative he takes in his role as government official. Tom appears lackadaisical about his work at the Parks Department and regularly undermines Leslie. He lacks moral character and ethical judgment, which is exhibited through Tom's multiple attempts to exploit his position as a government official. Despite Tom's negative characteristics and lack of interest in his job, he exemplifies a talent and passion for entrepreneurship. Tom idolizes celebrities and enjoys being in the spotlight, and often uses his position as a platform to engage in different business endeavors. Mocking and intensely sarcastic April works for the Pawnee Parks and Recs department as a college intern. She later becomes Ron Swanson's personal assistant. April's contemptuous demeanor is her defining characteristic. Although she appears to have a poor work ethic, April displays strong individualism by being self-oriented and not reaching out to other employees for guidance. Her impervious attitude towards her job is exemplified in her lack of communication skill and interpersonal skills. April is a loner who despises social interaction and does not engage in teamwork. Despite working at a government-funded organization, April is indifferent to her social responsibility as an intern/employee.
Meet Ron Swanson. Ron Swanson is the Parks and Rec Department Director. Very straightforward. He is dispassionate, emotionless, and he is a libertarian. And throughout the series, he exhibits the liaison role managerial role. He and Leslie Knope are very different. For the majority of the series, he is Leslie's boss, her self-imposed mentor, if she needs advice. He works for the Parks and Rec Department, believes in privatism. So in order to further plot and sometimes create conflict, he holds Leslie and the department back a lot with his humble and good-feeling tone of the series. He also ends up giving up his own beliefs to help his friends and give some insights along the way. So like I said, throughout the series, he exhibits the liaison role, managerial role. And the reason I say that is because he really does not want to help the department. He a lot of times uses the outside contact, which are his friends, to give insight along the way to get ideas on how to plot against Leslie and the department. Meet Andy Dwyer, a citizen who will eventually become a Parks and Rec employee. He is very foolish, and he is not the brightest character on the show. Andy Dwyer is very dim-witted and a bit foolish. He is the Pawnee City shoe shiner who eventually takes on working for Leslie on the Parks and Rec staff. As we first meet Andy, he is in a relationship with Ann Perkins. He's living on her couch. He eventually gets injured from a gaping pit in their backyard. The two end up eventually breaking up. Throughout the show, Andy exhibits an almost childlike demeanor and appears to be unmotivated when it comes to his job at Pawnee City Hall. Andy, most of the time, dedicates most of his attention to non-work-related things, such as being the lead singer of his band Mouse Rat, and then eventually later becomes a children's entertainer named Johnny Karate. Despite his very extremely short attention span, he presents almost an uncanny ability to memorize large amounts of information, and he actually reveals one during episode 1 that he received a perfect score on his SATs. Although Andy may exhibit less than desirable characteristics of a Parks and Rec employee, he is very mild-tempered, extremely kind, and extremely likable to pretty much anybody in the show. Men, women, whoever. Throughout the series, Andy displays the disseminator managerial role, because he not only receives large quantities of information, but he also sends into the Parks and Rec staff. When he learns about the organization's plans affecting the department, he conveys the information to the subordinate, which would be Leslie Knope, because she works for Ron Swanson, and she would be considered his second-in-command, or wingman, as you may call it, but they're still even though they're very different from each other. In episode 2, Canvassing, Leslie Knope and Ann Perkins want to use Andy as an innocent figure because of his broken legs to help convince people about the park. Because nowadays when you see people in a wheelchair or people on crutches, you feel bad for them because they're going through all kinds of pain and they know they can't really do much. So that's what Leslie and Ann wanted to pretty much do with Andy. Meet Ann Perkins. She is very hardworking. She is very romantic. She is a part-time nurse for the Pawnee Department of Public Health. And throughout the series, she exhibits the disturbance handler managerial role. Ann Perkins is mutable and often very forgiving. She's a hard-working nurse who eventually becomes the best friend of Leslie Knope. They pretty much tell each other anything. She doesn't really exhibit any pronounced characteristics except for her ability to adapt in the lifestyle of whoever she is romantically involved with. She appears to have really good work ethic and performs her job task with so much integrity. She is a very compassionate character who often tries to give advice to any of her coworkers however she can, whatever it might be. In episode 2 called Canvassing, Ann teams up with Leslie to go door-to-door campaigning about getting a park built in place of the pit. So throughout the series, she exhibits the disturbance handler managerial role, which is the best managerial role that applies to Ann Perkins, because her character in the show is consistently changing and does not really have a specific role in the department like everybody else. But she decides to be a nurse instead. However, whenever there is a problem with two coworkers, Anne always seems to be the one that is handling the situation very well and gives each of the coworkers advice however she can.
Objective. Our project relates to individuals who are looking to make a difference in their community through their career. Characters of the Parks and Recreation Department work through ethical decisions, organization, and the management concept of strategic decision-making. Building a new community park, restoring the safety of the community, and organizing the Harvest Festival that will contribute to the department's financial success. Managerial challenges. During episode 1, the Parks and Recreation Department is presented with their first managerial challenge. Leslie learns about Andy's injury after falling into the abandoned construction pit in a Pawnee community neighborhood. How does Leslie react to the challenge? Will Leslie manage change effectively? Do we learn how Leslie plans to implement change? Since Leslie is the Deputy Director of the Parks and Recreation Department, she has seen challenges arise throughout her career. However, Leslie has not yet been presented with a challenge as large as the abandoned construction pit, and she must be responsible and work effectively in order to determine how her department will reshape the construction pit into a park. Leslie wants to eliminate this safety issue and bring a resolution to the Pawnee community by building a new park in place of the construction pit. Managers need to be open to accepting change, be entrepreneurial, and innovate when tackling new challenges. Human resources, financials, organization, and implementation are all factors that a manager must obtain to successfully manage a challenge and/or a change. Leslie has a positive attitude and immediately takes responsibility for the issue when Ann Perkins mentions it during the town meeting. Leslie does not shy away from the challenge and reacts effectively as she suggests replacing the pit with a park and identifies the time sensitivity of the situation. Managing Leslie's team and guiding them through the process will be a challenge in itself. While we see the employees of the Parks and Recreation Department react throughout the episodes, the audience will understand which employees are lazy and unaccepting of change. Naturally, most people are resistant to change, but it is a manager's responsibility to motivate and help show their employees that confronting a challenge or a change is not anything to be afraid of at all. With the support of Anne, Leslie will help show her employees that they are a team who can succeed and embrace challenges positively. The next slide shows a small clip of Anne presenting the department with the unsafe, abandoned construction pit, Leslie's positive reaction, and her employee Tom's negative reaction to the challenge.
Many there of you who came to support the town hall meeting today. Aren't you, Tom?
Yeah, what a great turnout. You can all tell how glad I am to be here and discuss community changes of Corny with you all.
Should we wait for a few more people to show up?
Hey lady, let's get this meeting started.
Excuse me, I'd like to talk about the recycling issue this town has. Okay, everyone, let's settle down, and one at a time please. Yes, young lady with the brown hair.
Hi, yes, my name is Ann Perkins, and I would like to bring to your attention the abandoned construction pit right next to my house. My boyfriend fell in and broke both of his legs.
And this sounds like a serious situation. The Department of Parks and Recreation will take on this challenge to turn the construction pit into a park for the community. We will need to visit the site tomorrow to inspect and plan the renovation.
Yeah, whatever, Leslie. And you look great today.
Tom, I will need you to get Ian's contact information, and start calling local contractors regarding refilling the pit, and landscaping the park. I am excited and understand this is a safety issue for Pawnee.
We are very concerned. Thank you, Leslie, for understanding and seeing this matter through.
Many there of you who came to support the town.
Strategic management. During episode 2, Leslie and her employees meet Anne outside of the abandoned construction pit, next to Anne's home, to evaluate the severity of the situation. Leslie and Anne are concerned. Tom and April are unaffected by the situation and are not interested in participating. How does Leslie begin to plan the transformation? Does Leslie plan, organize, and recognize obstacles? Strategic management is an effective skill set for all managers. During episode 2, Leslie, Tom, April, and Anne meet at the construction pit. Leslie begins to think of ways in which her department will gain community support to replace the abandoned construction pit with a park. Leslie gathers her team and suggests that they will need to be organized and start to canvass the community members who live in the neighborhood near the abandoned construction pit. Here we see that Leslie is critically thinking and strategically planning how her and the department employees will execute her idea to build the park. Leslie understands the importance of relating to the people and hearing their opinions, and she hopes to gain support. Anne agrees with Leslie that canvassing would be a great start to navigate the dynamic of the situation. Canvassing is the second goal that Leslie establishes, which will help aid towards the building of the new park. In order to accomplish this canvassing goal, Leslie plans a script for each team member to read to the community members, and she identifies specific questions for the community that will help her understand their interest in the park. All managers are responsible for initiating goals and explaining the expectation of those goals to their employees. Leslie has thought about her canvassing strategy, planned a script for the team, and they complete the assignment. Leslie views the park as an opportunity for the community and a business development that will improve her department's reputation and success. Leslie exemplifies entrepreneurial skills throughout the episode and TV series. Leslie utilizes these skills and entrepreneurial mindset in order to plan and organize. With every strategic plan, obstacles will arise. Leslie and her team find out that many of the community members are too busy to give feedback during the canvassing event. Leslie must rearrange her strategy, think of ways to obtain answers at the town meeting. Leslie does not give up her goal to succeed with building a park.
In this episode of Parks and Recreation, we witness Leslie's ambitious attempt to motivate her subordinates using strategy management. She has her subcommittee in place. Let's see what she comes up with. Enjoy the show.
Okay, so everybody is here, we can begin. Thank you for being a part of my subcommittee. I'm very happy that you are all as excited as me to begin this journey in creating a park next to Ann Perkins' home.
Yeah, we're so excited about this.
I'm not, but whatever. I need the community hours for school. Anywho, we have a town meeting coming up and we need to prepare for that.
Leslie, I think you are taking this to the public too soon. It doesn't matter what you propose to the public.
They take a vote, and if they vote you down, this will be the end of this project.
I don't care if there's a vote. I have a secret weapon. Canvassing. There is nothing better than good old door-to-door campaigning.
I'm all up for it, Leslie. Let's get this show on the road.
Leadership. During episode 6, we see the department at the Harvest Festival. Leslie and her team planned this event in order to help with funding for the park. The Department of Parks and Recreation executes the Harvest Festival to maintain resources for building the park. Leslie exhibits leadership throughout the TV series as she guides her team to complete goals that will allow the department to build a new park over the abandoned construction pit. We see department members at the Harvest Festival in episode 6, where we entertain the audience with the mysterious disappearance of Lil Sebastian. Leslie is interviewed and thanks the community for coming to the festival and participating in the activities. Results of the festival helped with the department's finances. Leslie is firm but friendly as she gives feedback to the community and her team. Leslie led her team to organize the festival and execute the event. Leadership is clearly important to all organizations and any group of individuals who are trying to reach a certain goal. Leaders like Leslie positively influence her team to work effectively and efficiently.
Reporters here to cover the festival. Good evening, everyone. I just wanted to say thank you for coming this evening and reporting about the festival. Having this festival going on is helping a lot with the finances to make sure that the park has enough funding for it to be built for the child.
So Leslie, how has setting up the festival been so far? I hear that there has been a curse put on the festival.
What? No, that's not possible at all.
Is that so? Well then where could Lil Sebastian go, since he is not in his pen?
You see, that is a very good question.
Leslie, we found Lil Sebastian. He was just eating grass in the corn maze.
See everyone, there is no curse here at the Harvest Festival. Everything is going just as planned. Reporters here to cover the
Conclusion of management. Protagonist Leslie Knope exhibits multiple positive qualities in her unyielding mission to make positive changes. Leslie assumes the leader role. Social responsibility is a theme that is pervasive throughout the course of our episodes. Despite the employees having conflicting views on government, the employees of Parks and Recreation Department bind together to accomplish a goal. The struggle to find a balance between making the citizens happy and also satisfying their job demands is relative to the efficiency perspective. By using her interpersonal and conceptual skills to connect with citizens, Leslie attempts to bridge the gap between the demands of the people and the obligations of the Parks and Rec Department. Leslie practices strategic management and in-depth planning to her endeavor to win the approval and support of Pawnee citizens to build a park in an abandoned lot. Despite the lack of formalization, Leslie attempts to delegate tasks to her employees and attempt to win approval from Pawnee citizens, which is exemplified in the episode Canvassing. Recommendations for future students. 1. Communicate with your team members and organize the time that each team member has to contribute to the project. If your team is working virtually, then ensure each member has the necessary technology needed to complete each milestone. Ensure that you check in with team members every other day to ensure all are on the same page. Delegate and plan who will complete what part of the milestone. That way your team will avoid two people working on the same part and then having to rearrange tasks. Try to be creative with your submission and find entertainment in the project for your audience. Understand your team members and talk to each other about the course material. Support all of your team members and work together through any issues and concerns. Reflections. Principles of Management has been an interesting course for Team Will Sebastian. The course has been a challenging course for all team members as we have had to learn and organize our individual work/studies and group work as well. We have understood that as a group we have all had different experiences throughout our educational career and with job experience itself, which has brought different opinions and points of view to the process of our project. Communication and organization have been a key learning point for everyone since the group has worked to complete the project virtually. Working a group project virtually has definitely challenged everyone as some members of the group ran into technology issues and in result were not able to communicate with the group at certain periods of time. The WhatsApp has assisted our group tremendously as the main form of communication other than email. Organization, communication, and planning are important to delivering and completing a group project.